Good evening. My name is Amanda Gerke. I'm with the City of Alameda's Economic Development Division, and here tonight to talk about our special events permit grant program. So I'm going to start with a quick overview of the program. Then I'm going to go through the application process and how it's evaluated, and then talk a little bit about what happens after the grant is awarded. So this program was initially approved by City Council in September of 2023. The goal of this program, it kind of originated through our special event permit process because we have a lot of requirements for special events in Alameda, and we wanted to try to help make it a little bit easier for folks to meet their special event permit requirements and to cover some of those costs. So for this specific grant, awards come in the form of no-cost city services or reimbursement for specific costs. And I'm going to talk more about that later. We give out 10 to 15 grants of up to $20,000 each year. One thing I also do want to note, and especially because right now we have my colleague Jackie Kali'ia'a has joined us. So the City of Alameda right now has a couple of open grant opportunities. One, which is the grant program that Jackie is running, is our Cultural Arts Grant. And that grant is focused more, less on the permitting process and more on the content. And so, that the monies from for that grant can be used for a wide range of things. This grant is really focused on the permitting process, and so it's limited. Its use is limited to things that are required by our permitting. So I thought, Jackie, do you want to say a few words about the Cultural Arts Grant?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie Kali'ia'a. I'm a development manager here at City of Alameda in Economic Development, and I manage our city's cultural art and arts grants programming grant process, which is to say I do public art for the city. Good to meet you all. And right now we have an open call for cultural art and arts programming. I'm going to put this in the chat. It's a link to the city website. Oh, sorry, it's turned off. Okay, well, you can keyword search cultural arts and arts programming on the city website, and we have applications open now through March 19th. And what we're looking for are proposals from nonprofits, public entities, and artist organizations that are fiscally sponsored for performing arts and cultural arts programming here in the city of Alameda. So it may include, but is not limited to, performing arts, theater, dance, music, film and video, arts and lecture presentations, special events, festivals, and celebrations. And the open call is through March 19th, so you have 6 weeks to apply. And we will be reviewing all the applications on April 27th at the Public Art Commission meeting. But if you have any interest in applying, please let me know, and I'm happy to provide you my contact information. And also, one more piece is that we have an orientation for the application on February 11th. So if you want to know about what it is to apply, what documents we're asking for, how to put together a competitive proposal, all of those questions will be answered at the orientation on February 11th. But yes, it is very different from the special event permit grants orientation. And but there can be some complements. There might be a handful of applicants that are eligible to apply to both, but for the most part, you'll be applying to one or the other.
And Jackie, I did just turn on the chat. Sorry about that. So
Yay!
you
No,
can
that's
drop
okay.
the link to all the information in it.
Yeah, so that's the link to the website. And the website has a bunch of information. It has the cultural arts orientation on February 11th. It has a link for you to register for that. It also has the RFP itself. That's where you get details about what the application process entails. And also, I'll make a plug for Grant Writing 101, and that's also a webinar that we're hosting tomorrow at 5 p.m. All of our webinars will be recorded and uploaded to the city's YouTube page. So if you're not able to attend in person, you can still get that content by watching the YouTube. And the Grant Writing 101 is less about our application process and really about what it is to apply for arts grants in the Bay Area. Organizations like Zellerbach, for example, organizations like the Rainin Foundation. And it's really an opportunity to learn about this very vast arts philanthropy sort of ecosystem that we have in the Bay Area. So I recommend, if you're interested, to attend both. It's more knowledge, it's exciting. And again, if you can't make it tomorrow or on February 11th, all of this will be uploaded to the city's YouTube page. And I'm also going to include my email here. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly.
Thank you so much, Jackie. I really appreciate your popping in here and giving that overview. You know, we figured there would be some events that qualify for both, but there also might be confusion because we have these two grant opportunities open at the same time that are kind of for different things. So
Absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna plow forward. Thank you so much for popping in, Jackie. I appreciate it. Okay. So I'm going to kind of dive right into eligibility for the special event permit grant. So this is for events taking place in the 26-27 fiscal year in the city of Alameda. So that's June 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. They have to support at least two of the program goals. I'll talk about what those are a little later. They must include a street closure or require the use of city services or materials on the day of the event. They have to be located on public property. So that could mean, that could be on a street or a sidewalk, but it could also be in a city park or city-owned property at Alameda Point. They must require a special event permit. And not intended to convey a religious message nor advocate a political position. So if you're not sure whether your event requires a special event permit or not, Jackie, could you maybe put a link to the special event permit page in so folks can see? Because let me tell you, if your event does not require a special event permit, you are in luck. But if it does, we are here to help you. So, and actually, I will also add the link to all the materials for oh, no, that's not the right link. Hold on. Jackie, since you're here, would you mind also doing the grant info? That'd be great. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
I appreciate it. So organizers, this is pretty simple. You need to have a City of Alameda business license. And if you have had an event here in the past and there's been major problems with it, there's a possibility you might not be eligible to apply again. In the past, we had a requirement that you had to be a nonprofit organization. We have removed that requirement. Instead, we've added more emphasis on community benefits in the evaluation process. Timeline, the deadline for this grant is February 27th. We're hoping to announce awards the week of April 6th. If it is possible for you, if you are able to get your application in early, that is ideal because then I can review it and let you know if anything's missing. I already got an application that was missing some information, so I was able to, those folks had a little extra time to make sure we had everything. If you submit after the deadline, I will do my best, but we might not have the time to go back and forth. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the types of awards that this grant program includes. There's kind of two main types of awards. The first is city services, fees, and technical assistance. So this is about things like the staff time to process and review your permit. So, you wouldn't have to pay a permit fee. Typically, if you needed additional technical assistance on any part of your permit, you would have to pay for that staff time. In this case, you could be granted that staff time. the grant award may come in the form of additional police security for your event or no cost inspections. So this category is really about the city providing services at no cost to you. So you don't have to, it's not like you pay for the services and then we pay you back. Like there's no cost to you for when these services are granted. The second category is what we're calling external costs. And so this is for services or materials that are required by the permitting process, but the city does not or cannot provide. So this might be something like you have to hire an engineering firm to help you develop a traffic control plan, or you have to hire folks to help direct traffic on the day of your event, private security, costs associated with meeting our zero waste or clean water requirements. So for these items, how this would work is that as part of your application, you would submit an estimate for the cost of whatever this good or service is. And then when you receive your grant, you would then still have to pay for the cost upfront, but after your event, you would submit some paperwork to us. I'll talk more about that later, and we would reimburse you for it. So this one, you would have to pay upfront, but we would reimburse you. So this is just an example of what your grant award might look like. Those, in that city services, fees, technical assistance category, you might be getting grants for a certain amount of police time or number of inspections. In the external costs, that would be, it would be a dollar amount for, whatever the estimated cost of the good or services. There are some costs that are ineligible, things like porta potties, hand washing stations, insurance for the event, permit fees from other jurisdictions, and then, any goods you're going to be selling at the event. If you have questions on this, if you're not sure if something is eligible or ineligible, please feel free to send me an email at agerke@alamedaca.gov. I am happy to kind of help figure it out. So now I'm going to talk a bit about how the application works and how the evaluation works. So the application, it's a fillable PDF. Most people choose to do that. You could also handwrite it in if that's your preference. The first half of it is really just asking for a lot of information about your event. And the reason we ask for all that information is it helps us to determine what city services you might need. Like, so the police department might review it and say, okay, these people might need extra security based on, factors like alcohol sales or, closing down large swaths of streets or something like that. The second section is long form questions, and that's used for the grant evaluation. We do have a few things that we ask for you to attach to your application. One is a draft map of any closure that you're planning for the public right-of-way. We understand that you're not going to have this finalized at this point. Some of your events might be a year away, but just if you're able to give us kind of a rough estimate of where you're planning to hold the event. I'm going to address the next two on the next slide. So for any external costs that you're applying for, we're going to ask you to fill out a table like the one on this slide, and I have one as a fillable form in the application to just help us kind of track what specific things you're asking for. So if you need help with event greening, you're first going to need to get an estimate for the work and submit the vendor estimates for each of the external costs you want to apply for funding for. And then I just ask you to itemize them in this list so it's easy for us to track what you're asking for help with or what you're not asking for help with. One question that often comes up is, hey, my event's a year from now. No one's going to give me an estimate because who knows what costs are going to be like a year from now. So if you run into that, I would say, first of all, you can use estimates from or invoices from previous events or comparable events to kind of just show ballpark, here's how much we think it's going to be. You can also ask companies to give you, an estimate with the understanding, with the written understanding that this is not a contract, right? This is just, here's how much we think it's going to cost. I am happy to work with you. Like, for example, if you're using an estimate from last year, but you think that it's going to cost more this year, we can increase it by 5 or 10%. Ultimately, the reimbursement that you receive is going to be based on the invoice and proof of payment you submit at the end. Um, uh, so it's okay if we have to go a little over just to make sure you get the funding that you need. Application evaluation. There's two main sections we look at here. The first half is event narrative and significance. So looking at the nature of the event, the structure, the vision, how well it supports those program goals I mentioned, which are enhancing economic development, encouraging inclusive community engagement, and promoting a diverse range of arts and cultural experiences. We're also going to be looking at direct, if there are any direct community benefits. Are you raising money for something? Is it a volunteer drive? Are there any other, direct benefits associated with the event? And then the second half is looking at just organizational capability. Do you have funding for the event? Have you done this kind of event in the past? Does your event team have experience? I will say, this is a competitive process. I don't think yet we've had to turn anyone away, but it is, as every year as the program grows, that becomes a possibility. Okay, so after the grant is awarded, if you are awarded a grant, we're going to send you a letter, sort of officially announcing your award. It's going to include that sort of scope of granted, the grant scope, I guess, that I showed you earlier, showing specifically what city services you were awarded and what external costs you were awarded funding for. We're also going to ask you to submit a W-2 form. Our finance department needs that to send you money. You will also need to apply for a special event permit. So I think one thing I want to be clear about is that this grant program is separate from our special event permit program. And if you apply for the permit and don't get it, then you wouldn't get the grant, basically. I think Jackie included some of the information about what's needed for a special event permit. One thing I have tried to do was have some one thing I did try to do was have some commonalities between the application for this grant and the application for the permit. So I think the good news is if you have filled out your special event grant application, you are halfway, more than halfway to a permit application. So we're trying to make this as easy as possible. And then we also ask that, you simply acknowledge the city, nothing elaborate, but, where you might acknowledge any sponsors. After the event, as I mentioned, you would need to submit paperwork for reimbursement. We'd be looking for two things. One is a final invoice from the provider, and the second one is proof of payment. So that can be a copy of a cash check, credit card statement, however you provided the payment, just so we know what the final total ended up being and then that you paid them. I always like to say that now because it's, I think it's helpful for folks to keep that in mind going into the process so they can keep all that paperwork. So that's the end of my presentation. I would love to hear any questions anyone has. You can unmute or drop it in the chat, whatever works. Nick, I see you have your hand raised.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on. Yeah, we went through the process last year with the special events and we were granted the special event. Upon talking with Patty Carey, I think one thing that we omitted in our process last year was the cultural grant application. And so we'll be doing that as well to try to see the differences between the two and whether or not they might complement each other. So between now and the deadline for each of those, I want to make sure that we've got the right balance. You were very prescient in saying this is not the permit This is the grant for which the permit will work under. And I want to make sure that we can clear the permit first before we get the special events to enable that to execute. Um, and I will reach out to both of you individually for these kinds of conversations. But again, I want to thank you for giving us the early heads up on what to do in order to submit successfully. We are still going to be a nonprofit, even though that's been taken off of the requirements. I think it's best from a community standpoint just to be that way. Anyways, as the only person on this call, thank you again for giving us the anticipation of the season.
Excellent. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate your being here. I see we do actually have one other person. Oh, wait, Jackie, was there something you wanted to say?
I had a follow-up question to Nick, but let's let Jamie get in there and ask a question.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. I apologize if you already said this, but is there a maximum amount that is awarded either in the services or in the external payments?
The maximum amount is $20,000.
Okay.
Are
Sorry if
you-
you said that.
No, that's okay. Is your event I think one question I would have for you is whether where your event is located, because or you know whether
It used to be at the Healing Garden. Now, last year it was at Radium, so I don't know if that counts.
I am going to be actually having a conversation with the Radium folks tomorrow or no,
Okay.
Thursday to try to because it is city property. So we're gonna nail that down one way or the other.
Okay. I look forward to finding out more. Great, thank you. And I have and someone on my team might be joining the call, although I told her that we're almost wrapping up, but I've taken notes. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your coming. And Jackie, was there anything else? And
Oh,
I'm
yes.
also, this is being recorded and I'll post it. So, you know, anyone who misses it can pop in anytime.
Perfect. Thank you.
Nick, I just had a quick follow-up question. You'd mentioned Patty, and she's been a grantee for the past 2 years of our Cultural Arts and Arts Programming Grant. So is this for one of the events that Patty has previously been awarded or for a totally different event, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I was in costume for one of Patty's events. I was Krampus for I think it was a food bank fundraiser.
Alameda Haunts, yes.
Alameda Haunts, that's correct, at the Elks Lodge. Um, no, but she's the first person I'm going to reach out to later in the week because I think she has the same sort of vision and community and culture as we do. So no, it would be separate, but I would want to sort of understand what she has in mind and what I have in mind, we have in mind, so that we can make sure we distinguish between the two.
Got it. Okay.
Great question. Thanks for asking.
I see we have a new a new member to our small group. Jamie, is this your colleague or is this oh great.
Yes. Hi, Lana.
Hi
Welcome.
there. I sorry to jump in so late, but I do have my partner in crime, Jamie, here as well. I think we're here Jamie might have already mentioned, and I have children in the background.
Understood.
But Jamie might have already mentioned we did the Arts and Culture Fair last year at Radium Runway. We partnered with Rachel over there, and so we were just really interested in hearing about this program tonight.
Great. Yeah, I had mentioned to Jamie, I'm actually going to be meeting with Rachel on Thursday to talk a little bit about how and if and in what ways these two programs might work, the Radium and this program might work together. Yeah, and I had also mentioned I did give a whole presentation. I won't give it again, but I am recording this. So if you are interested in watching a PowerPoint presentation, you are welcome to log back in and and watch the recording. Okay.
Thank you. I will try and catch up or also get caught up with Jamie too.
Yeah. All right. Sounds great. Anything else before we log off? Okay. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate everyone coming out, and it's always really helpful for me to start to put names to faces of who's going to be applying. So thank you. All right. Good night, guys.
Thank you.